There was a big party there. Ray Kennedy, you want to say hi for a second, Ray?
Oh, I love to. Hi, everybody. I'm Ray Candy. I'm running for Las Vegas Municipal Court Judge, Department 1. Some of you might remember me. I ran in 24. I did not get elected, but not because you guys didn't work hard for me, and I appreciate that. I'm running again in 26, and I would really love your support. So thank you all.
Does anybody have anything else before we introducing our speaker, Barbara?
Keep that at first and foremost in that man's mind, because he's throwing everything to take your attention away from those Epstein files.
Yeah, and it is. They're trying to, everything is away from the Epstein files. And you know, okay, yeah, you must get it in within 30 days. That was, what, 60 days ago or 45 days ago or something. And, you know, it comes out in drips and drabs, and anything that says Trump on it, oh, that's blacked out. And, you know, even though a couple of the victims aren't blacked out, it's, you know, these, the 2,000 FBI agents working on this thing since April or something else like that. It's crazy what's happening here. And again, the hypocrisy is just absolutely shameful, in my opinion. You know, and the media, the legacy media, the corporate media is doing nothing about it, and they're actually promoting it. Yeah, they're afraid of, okay, we're going to take your license away, we're going to do this. And, you know, and another thing, in 2015, Obama's had some things in New Mexico. He was having the National Guard there for, I don't know if people remember this here, but he brought the National Guard in, and it was just actual kind of, what do you call it? Bivouac, or, you know, going on the practice runs and everything. Oh, he's going to come in, he's going to take over the government and everything else like that. And again, another meeting in October, because I was up in Portland where my daughter lives. I was outside of the facilities there, the ICE facility, when the stormtroopers, the Star Wars troopers, okay, came out there. And if Obama had ever done anything like that, can you imagine what Sean Hannity and the Fox media and other media would be saying? We'd never hear the end of it. And the hypocrisy is horrible. Anyway, I don't want to go into that. We have a speaker here, Barbara Wells from which is a nonpartisan organization. So you are not rooting for any candidate, yes or no. And
maybe I'll just try my both again. That seems to be working. Can everybody hear me? Yes. Wonderful. Okay. Well, thank you for having me tonight. It's a huge honor. Okay. Thank you all. Yeah. And many thanks to Janice Schoen and Norm Wright for making this possible. Also, a big shout out to my colleagues there at the League of Women Voters table. Who are always there supporting the League and are also involved with other civic organizations, including one called Red, Wine, and Blue. I love that name too, frankly. And they also are affiliated with another called Making Good Trouble Vegas. Doing what we do, we all work together. There's strength in numbers, and nobody does it alone. So, before we get started, I have a request. Please save any questions for the end. We will be doing question and answer time then. And also, another request, please keep the questions compact, short and sweet. There are a lot of them here tonight, and I want to give everybody possible a chance to participate, okay? All right, terrific. So, I'm going to start off by asking you, who before tonight had ever heard of the League of Women Voters? Oh, wow. That's almost everybody. Okay. How many of you before tonight had heard of the League of Women Voters of Nevada before tonight? Some, but fewer. Well, the likely reason is as follows. There was a league presence in the state of Nevada in the 20th century. However, on December 1st of 2020, the National League, also known as LWVUS, made the difficult decision of disbanding the state league. I was not a member at the time and found out later on through LWVUS and through the public domain that the reason was a series of infractions of the league's core tenets by the previous leadership. And the previous leadership having refused to comply, there was no other option. So at the time, we were without a league. So where did we go from there? Well, as it happens, coincidentally, the day before the league was decertified, I had retired from my practice as a licensed psychologist at the VA and was trying to figure out what to do with myself at that point. So I mentioned my retirement to a good friend of mine who lives in Monterey Park, California, and who was born the year before the league came to be. So if the league started up in 1920, how old does that make her? No. Yes, she's 106. Still very involved in the community, in politics, in seeing this world become a better place. And when she asked what I was going to do with my time, I said, I'm trying to figure that out. She says, you need to get involved with the League of Women Voters. And this woman who was born before women had the right to vote, before they were able to use a checkbook or go places without their spouse's consent. Because she was the voice of wisdom. And I said, yes, ma'am. So I tried to contact the state leadership, didn't get an email back or a phone call for reasons that you now understand. So I turned to the National League. Within the next 24 hours, I heard back from a field representative who was organizing in the state, trying to, at the time, look at how we could rebuild. And I thought, oh, I'm just going to be rolling my sleeves up and kind of doing things when people ask if they need a pair of helping hands. Sure. Well, the chain of events led to them saying, we're going to nominate you for the president of the state league. And I'm going, See, at the time we had no membership, no bank account, no bylaws, nothing. And I won't, kid you, it's a long road to hoe when you're in that kind of situation. But every time we have somebody say, thank you for what you're doing, or we are really concerned about the world we're living in now. What do we need to do to join? Or do you need somebody else to help with that tabling? I really want to get involved. I want to do more than watch other people. This makes it all worthwhile. So this is where we are now. We are building ourselves throughout the state. Remember, this is the state league. We are a grassroots, nonpartisan organization. And our strength is in the issues that we either endorse or oppose. And as you're going to see, desperate times calling for desperate measures, we have redrawn the parameters somewhat. It used to be that we never mentioned a party or an individual. But if we do so in conjunction with an action that party or individual has taken, then it's fair game. So I'm going to move forward with a quick overview of the League, which, as I mentioned, was founded in 1920 on Valentine's Day. And it was founded by a woman named Kara Chapman Catt. So she and her co-equals were what you would call the ladies who lunch. So they would go out in the afternoon, since they were rich white women, and sit around and talk about how they could work on freedom for all as suffragists. We have to say that they started with the first step of a 1,000-mile journey. And something else that a lot of people don't know, when we talk about the League of Women Voters, and men will say, oh, well, I'm a guy. It's like, well, guess what? Since 1974, during that decade of disco and leisure suits, men were permitted to join. And we have lots of men in the league, nationally and on the state and local levels. So essentially, we invite everybody who is 16 and over to be a member, regardless of race, creed, color, religion, regardless of sexual orientation or tribal membership, regardless of socioeconomic status or ability status. Essentially, everybody is welcome. Okay? And here, we are spelling it out. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, is our guiding principle. We not only invite, but encourage everybody to take part, to participate in this democracy of ours. So, why did we need a league in the first place? It's not always quite that obvious. Of course, until the 19th Amendment was ratified, and that was August 18th of the very same year that the league was born, women couldn't vote. But even though at that point women were given the right to vote, that only applied to white women, not women of color. We had a lot of work to do, and we still have a lot of work to do. I mean, when you think that women on average are being paid about 84% of what men are being paid for equivalent work, women's bodily autonomy is being threatened ever since Roe v. Wade was dismantled. Job discrimination, that glass ceiling is still there. Okay, poverty rates, due to the fact that women, even single moms, are largely responsible for the expenses of raising children. And of course, we have the ratio of widows to widowers, and domestic violence and intimate partner violence. Women are, for the most part, affected by this. So one might say, all right, how about, it's about women. Anybody else that you represent? Yes, most definitely. All the groups that you see here are groups that, in this day and age, are being marginalized, their votes suppressed. In what ways is this happening? Through such things as redistricting, aka gerrymandering, to dilute the impact of the vote of minority districts. We also have things like intimidation. As somebody who has done poll working, we were specifically trained in de-escalation. If people were to show up online, to ask somebody if they were legal, or if they were open carrying, and threatening people who might feel like leaving rather than confronting them, following them with a video camera or taking a picture of their license plate. We have younger people who may be going to get their education on campus and not have access to a voting place or even perhaps a ballot sheet. Okay? We have older age groups due to multiple factors, perhaps lack of transportation, perhaps due to ambulatory problems. Much of this could also apply to people with disabilities and people of lower socioeconomic status who may not even have a valid ID either. So we represent all through our advocacy work. We want everybody to have an equal chance to participate in our democracy. Okay, let me make sure that, there we go. All right, so what do we fundamentally stand for? To encapsulate it in one sentence here, our mission is to support and defend every citizen's constitutional right to vote. So how do we do this? Services that we provide, resources of all sorts. We help people to register. We guide them through the ABCs of what voting is if you're just starting out. Okay? Then we have something that I'm going to tell you more about later called Vote 411, our comprehensive guide, which is something available to anybody who has a computer or a smartphone. It's online, it's a living document from election to election, and we will go into that again shortly. Voter education, this is huge. This is a major focus of the League in this year. We all know what we've seen. So much of it is mis, dis, or malinformation. And to clarify the distinctions, misinformation may be what dear Aunt Zelda told you, because she heard from somebody else at the salon that this was a fact, and she loves you and wants to make sure that you're informed. And the thing is, she could have heard it and with all good intentions be passing along something that's just not so. Okay? Disinformation implies the intent to deceive or manipulate. Of course, this is used very often naturally when somebody has something to win, an election, or power, or control, or money, and can include the AI that we are all experiencing now. Sometimes it's really hard to tell what's real and what's not. And then malinformation. This is often the use of factual information in a harmful way, such as putting a public figure's physical address out there so that people might be able to find them, to harass them or stalk them. So these are the things that we focus on. We try to give people more of a nose for what is real and what is not, to teach them critical thinking through the voter education that we provide. Okay. Then I'd mentioned advocacy. We are also able to lobby and litigate as a 501c4. That is something that we may well end up doing with the support of LWVUS. And you'll see in a little while some of the things they've done as well. And then, to summarize, we want to make sure that every voice is heard. And these are among the ways that we do it. So, I don't think there's anybody here who would say that it's been an easy time. Every time we move forward, there seems to be a setback, maybe followed by another setback before we move forward again. It's tough. But there are always those sparks of hope if we look at what's been accomplished. There is, by the way, what you might call the League's Guidebook, Impact on Issues.
Because I don't think she did.
This can be Googled. It's perfectly free. And it right now runs from 2024 to 2026, so it's still current. Again, Impact on Issues. And you have a long League history of various legislation that the League has been involved in, various victories that have been won. But of interest recently, even in Florida, yes, in Florida, the League was able to uphold placement of early voting sites for those college students who might otherwise be shut out. The youth vote that has been suppressed by many who are afraid that they will overturn the results. Then Pennsylvania. Here, same-sex married couples can experience the joys of foster parenting. Okay. Moore versus Harvard was a huge one on gerrymandering, as was the recent victory in Utah. Then LWVUS. Here we're talking about the non-governmental organizations that can provide assistance, which would include the League of Women Voters and our community partners. This is one that's still being fought because we don't intend to back down on this. And then the last one, take a good look. League of Women Voters versus Trump, a permanent injunction against the federal voter registration form, including that requirement for documentary proof of United States citizenship. Okay. This is settled and will not be reopened. our sights on. The Equal Rights Amendment. All this time, even after the tumultuous 60s, there was still no explicit prohibition of sex-based discrimination. This is something that we intend to pursue to the end. The John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act and what one might call its partner, Freedom to Vote Act. Both are involved with updating and strengthening the legislation that was already passed, as well as protecting against further assaults against the rights that we've already won. The Native American Voting Rights Act. The American Indians have very unique situations, and I saw some of this firsthand when I went up with one of our league members to a health fair where we not only brought information on cancer diagnosis and prevention, but also brought league literature. There are miles and miles of undeveloped property, unpaved roads. There are people who are unable to afford the gas to make it across the reservation, or perhaps even a car to fill the tank of. And there is only one, last I checked, voting place on the entire reservation. How on earth are their voices supposed to be heard? There are also linguistic problems. The folks there speak Shoshone, and getting an interpreter could be easier said than done. So we are standing behind advancement of this act. And finally, DC statehood. You all sound like you're well acquainted with that, the fact that they have no congressional representation. And so their self-determination is basically up to people who represent other states, but not them. So, how many of you have heard somebody say, well, I don't want to vote because nobody is going to listen to my vote anyway, it doesn't matter. It's not going to make a bit of difference. You know,
Lots of people say that.
lots of people say that. That's right. Well, guess what? Here, people have been elected by a margin of 6 votes, 4 votes, 1 vote. You, or you, or you, or you, any of you, could be the person who changes history. That 1 vote. I mean, let that sink in for a moment. And our moonshot, as we call it, and that's not even on the horizon necessarily, although sometimes things have a way of changing quickly, is 1 person, 1 vote, with the abolition of the Electoral College. And so, let me introduce you to a few tools that can help you right now. There's something called League in Action. Anybody with a smartphone can access it. You can download it from your App Store or your Play Store, depending on what kind of phone you have. Okay. And essentially, there are a lot of things that it can do. You can gather your own community, put in all the names, get hold of them with the click of a button regarding any events, you know, any calls to action, any rallies, you know, any meetings. You can also see what all the leagues in the nation are doing, whether it be national, whether it be state or local. And we also have leagues in Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands, by the way, as well as DC, of course. Then volunteering. You know, you can volunteer or you can ask for volunteers if you're getting involved and say, who else wants to join me? Okay. And finally, vote 411. This has been a little mysterious, hasn't it? But you can go right in there and look at vote 411 and see what's going on with that. So again, this is perfect for community building, especially for people who are very into technology. It's a veritable toy store in there. So what about vote 411? We are the League's online voter guide, and we like to bill ourselves as information you can trust. Why? Because we cut through the mis, dis, and malinformation and deal in the facts. I mean, think about Walter Cronkite, Huntley and Brinkley versus some of the stuff you see today in the yellow journalism, tabloids. So here, we're looking at going in there. The first thing they ask, are you registered? You register right there. It only takes 2 minutes. If you have your identification, you can just enter it and bingo. Okay. What if you want to check whether you're registered, or whether you are under the party you want to be under, or whether your address might have changed? You can do all that there. Okay. Then you can also say where the nearest polling places, the drop boxes, who's running, what ballot measures are being introduced. All that is there. And one of the things that makes us unique is our team sends out a survey, essentially, so that we ask questions about the issues that are most likely to affect the voters in this election. What's everybody talking about? And we get the answers in their own words. So there's no spin on it. This is coming directly from the people running for office, and you can know exactly where they stand and make up your mind based on factual information. That's the beauty of Vote 411. And again, it's available to everybody online for free. So about membership, I want to talk about that, and also about how to get people motivated to go out and cast their ballot. One of the ways that we can do that is to, first of all, tell them the League of Women Voters is there for you. I would urge any of you to join the League. I would urge you to also pass this along to the people in your family, your friends, the folks in your community, because we can not only help with the resources and the information that you need, but also make you part of a community of like-minded people with similar values and beliefs. So this is one way that we can get started. I'll just tell you about how our league got started, actually, with 2 people, myself and somebody else I knew from the VA, another healthcare provider. We went to the Great Greek and we had souvlaki. And we talked about what it would be like to start a state league. She took me seriously, even though we had nothing. I was like, what would you think? She was like, let's do it. Next time we sat down, there were 5 people. And so it goes. There are, besides the state and local leagues in Nevada, there are little groups of people that form, sometimes around the coffee table, or maybe they go to the local cafe for lunch, for happy hour, whatever, and start saying, what can we do for our community? You are essentially the trusted messengers for that community, the people who can reach out to them and who it will listen to. And that often happens that maybe a city person like myself is not going to get very far up in Elko County, but the people up there who know the folks in their community, know their customs, know essentially what makes that community tick, they're going to get a lot further. So this is often how we get things done. If you're concerned about your community, if you can say that the world is not as good now as it was, and there are things you want to see change, talk to those people who you know and love. Okay? There are other things that you can do too. Here, if you're thinking about joining the league and you say, I want to try it out for size first, understandable. We could always use volunteers. Things like tabling. Hey, schlepping that tent, which I am terrible at setting up, Sometimes I can use somebody who really has a knack for that, Or people who just, love being among other people, who love to almost make that sale, only they're not selling anything, it's free, you know? Getting them to spread the word about the vote. Here's our literature. Hey, do you want to get hold of us? We can tell you more. You know, if that's the kind of person you are and you believe in this cause so badly that you want to do this, fine, join us. See what it feels like. Maybe you'll want to join. Or if you say, I'd like to look at some other organizations too. As I said, our community partners are a huge part of our strength. We are connected with, just to name some that you might know, the ACLU, the NAACP, Make the Road Nevada, the Progressive Leadership Alliance of Nevada, RISE Nevada, which is a strong youth organization. You know, we are also associated with the AAUW, Delta Sigma Theta sorority. The list goes on and on. But they are our strength, partly because they are trusted messengers for another demographic, and we all pull together for the same cause. Okay. So, in short, there are a number of ways that you can get involved, and do not underestimate the power of social media, of putting something on your website or your blog, you know, or your podcast if you're into that, you know, or spreading the word around, saying to the people in your life, you know, if you know somebody who can help you out, hey, you want to talk about us on your blog, you want to talk about the league, you want to talk about the ERA, and there are a number of ways that you can make a difference. So feel free to visit over there. Leanna and Lori are ready and waiting to hand you some literature to talk about the league a little more. Just take your contact information if you want us to get hold of you so you can ask some in-depth questions. And here is the email address at which you can get hold of me and some others in our organization. Here is our Google number. So it won't be picking up, but it will transcribe and we will get back to you. And check out our websites. The first is the state website. The second is for LWVUS. And I just want to say what a pleasure it is to see all of you so engaged and obviously so into the idea of making that difference that we need so very badly in 2026. Thank you all.
You have a question?
Time for questions, yes.
So will we be putting together bipartisan debates prior to the primaries?
We are right now organizing those candidate forums, both in the north and down south here. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, my question is, I'm from California, and the legal voters in California. That's enough. We used to have 50 or 60 propositions on the ballot. And for each initiative, we have a really great write-up of the pros and cons and where they stood. Does the Nevada team do that?
We are going to do something very much along those lines. Because we're waiting to find out what is going to go on the ballot. And we have a team of people ready to write essentially what it's going to be about. As far as pros and cons, we're going to look at that without getting partisan. But yes, we're going to be as thorough as we can in providing enough information so that you feel comfortable casting your ballot.
Was that by the solo? Was that by the solo box or no?
Right?
Yeah.
Yes. You know, keep your eyes out for that because as we get closer, it will be on Vote 411. Okay.
No?
Anybody else? Any questions or thoughts?
I was a kid.
Well, that's very ambitious to start.
Bad horses and buggies, they know about it.
It's been an undertaking.
Let's see.
Thank you much. And you know, we can only grow from here. Yes.
Is there anything going on with Puerto Rico, the state? Because their fun is playing in the Super Bowl.
question?
I can't hear. Is there any English in Puerto Rico or is it just the same?
You know, right now, as far as Puerto Rico becoming a state, I'd say that's probably not within our bailiwick. I do know that since they're a territory of the U.S., that they are represented. As a matter of fact, our chief of programs not long ago was from Puerto Rico and operated within LWBUS. So I will definitely be waiting to see how else Puerto Rico might become involved in our national policies. And of course, statehood, if we're fighting for statehood for DC, why not Puerto Rico?
How much was it?
Anybody else before I turn this back over to Norm?
Is there any plans to publicize the fact the mail-in is going to be confusing now? To publicize that you can actually take it to a collection box and you don't have to mail that mail-in ballot. A lot of people don't realize that. Are you planning on publicizing that at all?
I think we're going to do whatever is humanly possible to make for a well-informed electorate. That's a great point you bring up.
Because that's nonpartisan. That's nonpartisan.
Okay. The idea that you can bring your ballot to a drop box that you don't need to mail it, essentially. You do it ahead of election day. You know, one of the things that we can do is just either A, put this on vote 411 and if it's a county invite, or B, include it in our literature, in our postings on, League in Action, etc. So that's a wonderful point. Thank you for that.
Barbara, I think it's nonpartisan to warn people. It's not saying vote for Democrat or Republican. You're just saying what the post office is doing.
Oh, it's absolutely nonpartisan, yes. Agreed, 100%. Yes, Shell.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm not sure if this is current right now, but I did have a mail-in ballot, and sometimes I'm pretty sick. And I dropped that mail-in ballot on the day of election. They gladly take it, was not a line. So those are also things that perhaps if you do put that information out, maybe you want to tell someone that.
Where did you drop the ballot?
This was exactly across from the Las Vegas ballpark. This is a few years ago before we moved here, but that's something to look into. But they accepted it.
They escorted us right up to the door.
Yeah, you didn't have to wait on the line of the people going in.
Right.
You just tell that person there that I have a mail-in ballot, and they have a box there for the mail-in.
I think
and I'm
all
disabled.
drop boxes are at voting places. And especially early voting. You can drop your ballot.
Yes,
into
but
it.
this actually was the day of election.
Yeah.
So that's something that, most people don't
You
know,
are guaranteed to get it to the
to
right
get it
place.
in and drop it in as if you were pulling a lever.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. That was just an insight to what we're talking about.
That's an excellent point, and that's also great to piggyback on what the lady here in the maroon shirt was saying.
Yes. But my actual question for you is, you mentioned that you need volunteers. Full disclosure, folks, I do know Dr. Barbara Wells. I know her well. She's a wonderful woman, and I know how hard she's worked. And as a resident here, I know I look young, but I am of age to be here.
Prove it.
Yes, I'm a 69 baby. I'm 56. But I know that volunteerism is how we met through a different, scenario. I volunteer with the American Cancer Society. But long story short, I know if there's anyone who has an hour, she can use that. It is very important for 2026. So I urge you to share your time, energy, or thoughts with her. Thank you.
Thank you to all who offered your thoughts, your suggestions. I'm going to make some notes because I want to follow up on those.
Your grandbaby.
And as I say, nobody does it alone. All of you are the strength of our meetings.
Can I pick up on that there?
My mom's a little older than your kid.
Thank you, Barbara. is a fulcrum year. You know, this is a year where we need to make a change. And unfortunately, winning by 1 or 4 or 10 or 100 votes probably won't do it, because they will always say it's been rigged, it's been rigged, it's been rigged.
Cheated.
What we need to win is by thousands and thousands and thousands of votes, okay? And this is where we need to get ourselves motivated and keep ourselves motivated, all right? Please, bring your friends, talk to your friends. When, let's grow our club and make it happen. This is a year of action, and we have to take action. I want to segue into introducing our board for the next year here. We have Melanie right here, our secretary. We have Nancy in the back there. We have Marge sitting over here. And we have Bobby Friedman, who is our new director at large, along with Marge. And, don't worry, last but not least, okay? Get involved. Talk to your neighbors and talk to your friends. And you know what? There's a lot of Reagan Republicans out there who are not happy with what's happening now. They are. So get them involved. If you want to rescue the dog, we thank you, Bobby. Our dog Sophie is now 6 months old and that big and doing great. So if you want a dog, Bobby's the place to go for it, okay? And anyway here, last but not least, we've got Janice, who is our vice president. Ellen, you want to say something?
Yeah, I did. On a small, local, small-scale version, I just want everybody to please vote for the candidates of your choice for the Sun City Board. There's 4 seats available. And so please vote when the ballots come out.
And I'll pick up on that. You know, we're a community of just under 8,000 homes, 7,801, I think it is like that. And unfortunately, only 3,000 or so people of our community vote, and 5,000 don't. When we tried to get the NORA passed, it didn't pass because nobody votes. People are apathetic, and this is what we need to do, is to break the apathy. Janice?
Thank you, I'll send you $1 in the mail. We have new members. Do you want to raise your hand? Can you stand up and just tell us your name and where you're from?
Oh, okay. I'm Kathy Forte. I'm from California. I got 300 people in Nevada to work on Proposition 50 with postcarding. So that was a big deal because I had never gotten so many people to do anything.
We were very involved, not so much the Liberal Club, but I myself have an avenue that we were writing 500-600 postcards. I think at the end we had 5,000 postcards.
Oh, well, you beat me.
Okay, I want us to get to know each other a little better, so I'm going to ask if your birthday is in January. Raise your hand. Any Januaries? Oh, Bonnie, stand up. Introduce yourself. Where you from?
Hi, I'm Bonnie Wall.
Wait.
Hi, I'm Bonnie Wall. I moved here 4 years ago from Silicon Valley, from San Jose, but I'm a New Yorker.
Hey,
Anyone else? Yes, stand up. Milo.
Hi. My name is Milo Gayer, and I've been in Sun City for about 1.5 years. And we moved here from the liberal hotbed of Texas.
We are very glad to have you on our side now. Anyone else? Somebody else? Yes.
Oh, my name is Paula. I moved here from Rockland County, New York.
Do we have any questions or statements from the audience? Where is my fellow that has something to say. Yeah.
You can't hear my voice, and there's something wrong with my mic. My name is Roy. I've been involved in the organization just for like 4 or 5 months, and I like the direction we're heading. I've got so many liberal friends on Facebook, and one lady said, "You've got to do something." So she sent me a link to all the senators across the United States, all the House of Representatives, even the President's office, and according to Jan, the next email you get, that link will be on it. So you can just click it and then send it. And again, she said, and I've talked to her, sent messages to the Democrats, but we don't have to do that because we know that they're on our side. The Republicans, there's Mark Armitage, the only Republican, and he's up in Washington County, unfortunately, so I'm not going to listen to him. But if we inundate people that are maybe on the edge, then we can kind of force them to join with us, rather than against us. So check out the next email you get, Jan, and the link's going to be here, right?
Yep.
Cool. Thank
Promise.
I'm Lonnie Paz from the Red Rock Democratic Club.
I want to thank Norm Wright and the Sun City Liberal members who attended our Silver Jubilee in October. It was a rocking success. Thank you for the video, for all the pictures, and thank you all for your support. So many of you came, and we really appreciate it. It was a good party. I also want to announce that January 28th is our first general meeting. It is on immigration and ICE. We will have an immigration attorney there, someone from the ACLU, and we hope a UNLV professor. So we get a balanced insight onto what's going on. In February, we'll be doing candidate speed dating, just the judicial candidates. And then in March, we'll be doing all of the other candidates that are running for city, county, and state offices. And I really want to thank the Sun City Liberal Club for supporting the Red Rock Dems. And we love coming here and supporting you as well. Thank you.
I just want to tell you a little story. I have friends that know I'm very involved, and I've gone to a lot of the protests, and I made some silly signs, no kings, take them out in the backyard and thrash them. And I've gotten feedback where people have said, it doesn't matter, that we don't have the power, so why are you wasting your time? My answer is, if we don't go out and protest, how are they going to know we're upset? Right? How are they going to know? So even though right now we're in the minority, by going out and talking to your neighbors, bring a friend with you, we have to show solidarity that we are upset with this administration and with what's going on. Anything else from the audience? Yes, Welly.
Are we taking any kind of stand about supporting the Women's March for the walkout on January 20th? Is anybody participating in that? Do we know about that? Say again?
The Handmaids walkout. Woo! Are they meeting any particular place, or they're just walking out? 2 p.m. on the 20th?
Isn't that the day of action? 20th is the National Day of Action, so,
You handle that?
yeah, but it's, you know, a
You
National
handle
Day of
that,
Action.
Abby? Okay. You handle the website? Facebook, okay. Oh, hello. Okay, so let's get some information up there. Norm, I'm handing it back to you.
We got it. Okay, listen, everybody. If you want to send in information, if there's something going on, I will blast it out to everybody in the email. Please, if you haven't joined, we need your $10 donation for our membership. It's required for the Sun City Association. We have to collect dues. It's not that we want to, yeah, we want to, but we have to also, and we want to keep our membership open. We are going to have open discussions. Invite a Republican, invite a conservative, okay? I mean, let them come and let them hear what we have to say. We have nothing to be ashamed of, and if they can't deal with it, that's their problem, it's not our problem. Everybody get out there, do what you need to do. We are going to have a fight, we are going to get more involved, and we have 50-50s. Okay, hey.
Hi guys. So we had 157 collected tonight, so that's 77 to the club and 78 to the winner. Now we just need, what might be the lucky tickets? Wow. Here's the honor, here's the pick.
What was the number?
We haven't been fully yet.
You're a troublemaker.
The number is 251536.
Wrong number.
There he is.
So Barbara, she's supposed to call our number. What number? We had 586.
You go 536.
I think do you play Bunko?
Everybody, thank you very much. We'll hope to see you.
I think your shape is like this, right? I think your shape is like this.